Hi, welcome back. I am really excited to have you here. I have already had to start and restop this because I'm extremely nervous, which is unlike me. I've been talking with all of you for a year and a half now, and I don't really get nervous, but today I am because I'm outside of my element. I'm in a studio. I'm in West Hollywood. I've got me and my friend Nick, who's right outside my door, sitting with me. And usually it's just the two of us, usually it's just me and you in my dining room. But I thought it was time to upgrade the show and see what it feels like to move out of the dining room. And girls, I am really nervous. It feels very professional. There's like lighting everywhere, there's cameras everywhere. And I don't feel like I'm great at this, but I keep reminding myself that I'm just not good at it yet and that I will get there. I also just want to share with you, sometimes I think that we want to start these projects or these ideas in our head of things that we want to do, and we want it to be super polished and button up and be really good at something and have it all figured out. And I just want to tell you, like, you do not need to do that. I am sitting here a year and a half into the show, and I'm finally in a studio. Not that I need to be, right? We could still have a great show outside of the studio. But I gave myself permission to start from my dining room table with my computer sitting on a stack of books, my kids were on the other side with a microphone that I was trying to like figure out how to plug it in. And sometimes you just have to start. I think we wait to feel ready, or we wait to have like all of our ducks in a row, or for it to get to a certain level, we're gonna start sharing it. And you just start. You rip the Band-Aid off and you just start and you see where it goes. I will also tell you, you know, one of the things, and I hope you feel this way, that there is for me, and the reason I do this and the reason I keep showing up is like I have such a deep belief in myself, not necessarily in all the projects that I do, right? So, like, we just launched a new program called The Practice, and here I am doing the podcast, and we've had retreats, and we have all these other things that happen throughout the year, and some of them work and some of them don't. But I don't put too much pressure on how the outcome or how the end result of any of those things turns out. I just believe in myself the entire time. It's hard to do. And there are moments I feel nervous, like right now, and a little bit insecure. But at the end of the day, I know I've got myself and I bet on myself every single time. And sometimes it works out and sometimes it doesn't. But I know in the long run, like I've got me. So, anyway, long story short, we are sitting here in a studio and I've been thinking about what I wanted to share with you. I sat last night and took about an hour to like plan out a few different shows. And I came here, I'm not gonna lie, I came here, girls, with like 6 pages of notes of things I wanted to share with you. And as I was driving here, I had this overwhelming feeling of scrap that. We're not talking about any of those things. It just felt too rehearsed. And I wanna just have a heart to heart with you and just talk to you as if I was talking to a friend. And I just got emotional just saying that because I really do think that. I think the reason the show has worked so well over the years is because, at least I try to be, it's not performative. It's just me sharing with you what's actually happening. And a lot of times it's messy, a lot of times I don't have it figured out. But it's in the moment, it's very real for me. And I share with you not as someone who has it all figured out, but as someone who is in the trenches trying to make things work, right? Mom of 4 kids trying to feel like, what does it feel like to try to build a career while also being a good mom? I'm someone who's trying to, still work on my meditation practice while still coming home to myself in all these different ways that feel sloppy and messy. And I share with you in very real time. So, anyway, long way of saying I've scrapped all of that. And I have a few ideas of things we're going to talk about, but we're going to just see where this hour takes us. So, your guess is as good as mine. But I have a couple of good things in here. I actually just have, if you can see it, like I just wrote out when I was sitting in my car, I had a couple of like big ideas. I'm like, I'm going to talk to them about this and this and that. And that's where we're going to go. But before I do that, I just want to say, I was having a feeling this morning. I was walking on the beach. I'd love to take my have my morning meditations and I go for a walk on the beach. And I was having this feeling walking on the beach. I don't know if you ever get this way of just feeling so flipping happy. Like I was so happy and so grateful for my current reality. And I was sharing a little bit online last night, and I don't know if you've seen it on Instagram. I was sharing in a story that I've been in a season over the past, I don't know, I'm going to say like the past couple months, if not the past 6 months, where I've just been really, really content and really happy. Probably the happiest I've ever been in 47 years. And I do not think it's because anything in my life is like magically like becomes smooth and easy, right? Life is always lifey. There's a million and one things I could get worked up about and fired up about, and I'm sure you have them too, right? That's just like how life is. And yet I've also gotten to this point where I'm starting to appreciate where I'm at and give myself permission right now in this moment to be happy and to celebrate my little victories and celebrate my wins and just appreciate how flipping good life can be. I think we get so obsessed with wanting to be further along, wanting to be further along in our careers, wanting our bodies to look a certain way, wanting the house to look a certain way, waiting until the kids get, I don't know, into kindergarten and preschool, until they graduate high school and are off in college, that then we're going to be happy. Then we're going to do the thing. And we just are constantly moving the goalpost on ourselves of when we can feel happy in our lives. And I've been thinking on this a lot the past 6 months. And I was like, what if I just allowed myself to be happy right now? What if I just allowed myself to be proud of what I'm doing right now? What if I just stopped in this moment and appreciated how flipping good it is? Because there was a version of me years ago that would have killed to have the life that I have now. So I was thinking about it as I was walking on the beach this morning. You know, years ago, I was this young mother living in Chicago, and I had this gut feeling that we belonged someplace else. I was like, I don't know. I see us on the West Coast. I see us, I see this life of living more freely and having more time outdoors. I see myself hosting a podcast. I see myself leading these retreats. Like I just saw this vision for myself, and I had no idea how I was going to get there. None of that made any sense to me at the time. And while yet I'm still very much, I'm getting emotional, very much figuring things out as I go. And for the first time sitting in like a professional studio instead of in my dining room table with a stack of books, holding up my computer and microphone, I've just been thinking of like, damn, you did it. You really did it. I'm so proud of you. And yes, we have a long ways to go. I have so many things still that I want to accomplish and so much more that I want to do. And yet, I also want to take time to just appreciate this and celebrate my wins. Last night, I had shared that we were launching a new program called The Practice, and it's really like my daily practice. And girl, I'm not going to lie to you. Like in my mind, I see it, and it's thousands of people signing up for it. And last night, 2 people signed up. Two people. And I will tell you, I celebrated those 2 people like as if it was like my son got into, and because he's applying to colleges, this is the thing, like he got into like Princeton. I was like, oh my God, people signed up. And I was so excited. And I just allowed myself to celebrate and feel proud of myself. And so I want you, if you're listening, to give yourself permission right now to think back to how you were a couple of years ago. Think back to something you were working on or how you were feeling in your life. And I want you to look at how far you've come. And I want you to feel so flipping proud of the work that you have done and how you continue to show up for yourself. And just like I said earlier about like believing in myself, like, do I know for a fact that the idea of like the practice is going to work itself out? No, I have no idea. But ultimately, like I know I'm going to figure it out. And if it's not the practice, it'll be something else. And I'm going to keep believing in myself, and I'm not quitting. And along the way, I'm going to celebrate my victories every single step of the way. So anyway, I was thinking about it this morning as I was walking on the beach, and I was just thinking about like this girl from Ohio who is this overwhelmed young mom who left her career to stay home and be with these little babies and who was so overwhelmed in her life. And here she is walking on this beautiful beach, thinking about how she gets to go in and record a show for all of these women who are part of this community. And like, I have no idea how I got there. And I think sometimes we think luck happens to people, like things just work out. And I want you to know that we make our own luck. And everything that you want right now in your life can be yours. But the fastest way to have that happen, and the only way for that to happen, is for you to believe that you are worthy of it. And to start opening your heart and with a sense of gratitude as if it is happening right now in your life. I remember years ago when I was living in Chicago, thinking about moving to the West Coast. And it wasn't so much that I was like, I had like the house picked out. It wasn't like the specifics I had picked out, but it was this feeling that I had of like, how good would it feel to have a little more freedom in our life? How great would it feel to have more sunshine in our days and be outside? And I allowed myself to, in that moment, embody and visualize and feel what that would feel like to live that way. And I tried it on in real time as if it was happening. And what happens when we do that, like our heart opens up and we feel a sense of gratitude. And I know it sounds so cheesy, so just stay with me, but like we raise our energy. And when we do that, like gratitude and appreciation and love are the highest forms of energy, right? It vibrates the fastest and the highest of all the energies. And so when we're in that state, beautiful things begin to unfold for us and magical things start happening. And I'm not a big believer in coincidences. I really think it's everything happening for us and things are giving us signs and clues. And I was just thinking today again, like on that walk on that beach, about all the little clues and all the little things and all the synchronicities that have happened along the way. But I really think it's not because luck happened and I'm just lucky, or not because, like, I don't know, we made right decisions, but because I believed in myself and I allowed myself to envision what it felt like to have that thing already in my life right now. And I do that a lot. Like, so I think about what it's going to feel like when this show is a wild success, or when the practice is in the hands of thousands of people. Like, how is that going to feel? And it's not about the actual like thing, right? It's about the feeling inside that it cultivates for me. And so I was thinking about that. I'm like, what does that feel like for me? It feels like freedom. It feels like abundance. It feels like joy. It feels like pride. And instead of waiting for those thousands of women to sign up that I know is going to happen, I remind myself, like, you can choose to feel that right now. You can choose to embody that right now in this moment. And when you do that, the universe works in your favor. And all of a sudden, there's going to be more people coming in. And all of a sudden, there's going to be a synchronicity happen where someone's going to help me develop the app further and make things work. And I was even thinking about that, about like this show coming in here. I was thinking to myself, like, I envisioned this show and I pictured it in a studio, but I'm not from LA. I don't know this area. I have no idea. Like, I mean, I guess I could have gone online, like just Googled spaces. But I was introduced to a friend recently and we hit it off immediately. And she was sharing with me, she's like, I have this amazing podcast studio. You should go check it out. And I was thinking, thank you. Thank you, Dean the Universe. It was like a little drop of a little sign coming my way of something like, here's the next step. And so I think when we believe in ourselves, right? We believe so much in ourselves, not necessarily the outcome, but in ourselves. And we start embodying those feelings as if they're already happening right now. The universe starts providing little signs for us, little messages, and then we start taking aligned action. All right. And so I do things like, you know what? I'm going to book the studio space. We're going to see how it goes. And it's amazing what unfolds when you do that. So anyway, this is not what I planned on talking to you about, but I was just really feeling an overwhelming sense of gratitude this morning, of just all of you, of this opportunity, of the space that I'm living in right now with my family. Life is still life, you guys. Do not get it twisted, okay? My house is still chaotic. My kids have still a million things going on. The world is still a hot mess. And in the midst of all of that, we can still choose to find peace and to find joy and to allow ourselves to be happy. You can choose to be happy right now. You don't have to wait. Okay, so if I was thinking about what I want to talk to you about, the thing that is really the foundation of everything for me, and so much of what I share here, but I don't talk about it that often on the show. I mean, I know that girls are going to be like, yeah, Katie, you actually do. But it's about meditation. Meditation changed my life over a decade ago, and it is really the foundation of everything for me. And I wanted to talk to you a little bit about how it changed my life, because I don't think we've visited this in a while. So I want to talk to you about just how it's changed my life, what it looks like for me, why I'm going to say, and this is going to be a bold statement, but why I really think if it's the one thing that if every single person on this planet did, we could change the world. And I think it sounds so cheesy when I say that, but I often think, like, why am I here? Why do I feel this call to talk about meditation? Like, what is it? Because there's a million people talking about meditation and all these different things that you could do. But I really, truly believe from the bottom of my heart that meditation and learning to come home to ourselves and be with ourselves and become these clear vessels and these clear channels is the thing that will eventually change the world. And I think it's going to require all of us to do that in order to really make an impact in this world. So no pressure on you, you to start a meditation practice. I just need you to change the world. And no pressure on me, but let's talk about it. So meditation was introduced to me 18 years ago when I was pregnant with my first son. And I thought, like, that's cool, interesting. It's a novel idea. I get it. Like, you know, when you like conceptually get something, but you're like, that's cool for you, not for me. At that time, I was had a very anxious mind. like so many of us, right? I lived in probably constant fight or flight without even knowing it. And it was something that I knew about, but wasn't something that I would wanted to like spend much time on. Fast forward, 8 more years, and I have a couple more babies. So my kids are all in the span of 7 years. I had all four of those kids, and I found myself to be this young mother who was extremely overwhelmed. And my anxiety was really high, and I was really controlling with the kids, my body, with food, with alcohol, my marriage, the whole thing. And it was a really destructive, yeah, I'm going to say that. It was a really destructive situation. It was a really destructive way I was living. Did I know at the time it was? No, because it's how I saw everyone else around me living, right? Like everyone was using alcohol to numb and to cope. Everyone was, perfect on the outside while inside like fighting these battles and feeling overwhelmed and anxious. But I knew then if I didn't do something to change my life, I was going to go down or, continue to go down a destructive path. And so I made a decision. I was like, I'm going to start a meditation practice. And I had no expectations. Like I didn't think like I'm going to may have a meditation practice and it's going to change my life. I just thought this is one simple thing I can do while the babies are sleeping. And I'm just going to see how it goes. And so I committed just 5 minutes a day. And that practice slowly grew to 7 minutes, then 10 minutes. And I'm going to tell you this meditation is a slow burn. Okay. It's a slow burn. There are many things right now in our world that are quick dopamine hits. Meditation is not one of those. It's definitely a little bit of a slow burn. And at first, you don't think anything's changing. But over time, I started noticing little changes in my relationships with my kids. I started seeing changes with my relationship with my partner. I started seeing changes with my relationship to food, to my body, to alcohol, to people around me, and most importantly, to myself. And these are small changes, but you start noticing that you start responding differently. Instead of reacting where I once would have been really reactionary, now I had an opportunity to step back and respond for my true self. So I'm trying to think. It's been about 10 years since I started that practice. And I will tell you, I still have that meditation practice today, you guys. It is still the same practice and it is down and dirty. There's no earbuds I'm putting in my phone. There's no crystals. There's no like white outfit in this like totally serene picture moment. It is in my very real, messy life, usually with kids making breakfast either in the other room or down below me. And it is me. I go into my closet because with a family of 6, it's the only place I can find peace and quiet. And I go in there and I get my 15 minutes in. It's just me and myself and my breath. And I'm going to tell you something. When you start a meditation practice, okay, you're going to think, oh, I'm going to become really zen, or I'm going to all of a sudden, like my life is going to be zen. That is not going to happen, okay? It does not work that way. I think we have this idea that meditation is about calming the mind and like the mind never wandering, but that is not the practice at all. What the practice actually is about building awareness, okay? So meditation is about building awareness. And so we're going to start building awareness of our wandering mind, okay? So what's going to happen is you're going to sit and start your meditation practice. And you can either do a guided or unguided practice, but at some point, no matter what you're doing, your mind is going to go to your grocery list, or it's going to go to the fight you had with your partner the night before, or it's going to go to the dog barking and why don't your kids let the dog out? And your mind will go down this rabbit hole. And what meditation does is it gives us the opportunity to become the observer of our mind, right? And so it's not sort of, it is, it's this metacognition where we get to step back and we begin to witness ourselves and we begin to witness our mind wandering. And every single time our mind wanders, and sometimes it wanders the entire time, what we do is we gently bring it back to the breath and back to the present moment. And what happens, and what's really happening here, is not that we're becoming like some great meditator, because the world does not need people who are great at meditating. Like, I hate to break it to you, but like nothing changes in the world or in your life if you're really good at meditating, okay? Like there's no prize for being the best meditator. What we want though is to be able to apply this into our everyday life. And so what happens is we start building this muscle of awareness, and we start building that by repetition after repetition after repetition. It is a daily, consistent thing. So it's not like a one-time thing you can sit and do this. It is that every single day we sit and we do this work, and we begin to build that muscle of awareness. And eventually we begin to build that muscle of awareness because many of us have no sense of like real awareness of ourselves. And what happens when we build this muscle and we go out into our everyday, very real life, when something happens and there's a trigger, we start to become aware, oh, I'm about to react. I'm about to, whatever it is, like something in us gets agitated and we are about to explode, or we're about to slam a door. We're about to have a reaction that is disproportionate to what's really going on. And instead of reacting, we get to take a pause back and choose how we want to respond. So if we think about it, and this is like not a novel concept, but there's this idea of like there's a trigger, something happens, and then there's a reaction. And for most of us, we're living like this, right? There's the trigger and the reaction, and we are living like this. Like they are one. They are very enmeshed. And what happens is when we begin to meditate, we build this muscle of awareness. We, instead of having the reaction and then an immediate reaction, there's a little bit of a space that's created there because all of a sudden now we have awareness that we are about to respond. And that awareness creates a little bit of a pause. It creates a little bit of a space, and it separates the two. And in between the two of those things, in between the trigger and the reaction, in between there, that little space, that is what we are growing. And that, my friends, is where your true self lives. And that's where your freedom lives, and that's where your liberation lives. And so when we talk about how does meditation change your life, meditation doesn't change your life because you're sitting in a closet and all of a sudden you have no thoughts running through your brain for 10 minutes. Meditation changes your life because when you go out into your everyday real world, instead of yelling at your teenage daughter when she slams the door, or instead of getting upset with your partner when they said they were going to be home at a certain time and they're not, or when someone cuts you off in traffic, or when your boss sends you an email that upsets you, instead of responding, we have an opportunity to become aware of ourselves, become the observer, take a step back, have a little bit of a pause, create that space between that trigger and the reaction, and choose how we want to respond. And I'm going to tell you something. Not only does it feel good for the other people around us, but it feels good for you. It just changes how you feel inside. I think about all those years I lived as a mother, or as a partner, or even as a friend, or just as a human walking the world who was so reactionary to everything. Like, it does not feel good inside to be triggered by everything. And there is a certain amount of peace and ease, and I'm going to say even joy, that starts to grow in you when you stop being reactionary to everything, and when you start being able to make choices and make decisions in your life and move in your life in a way that feels really good and aligned. I like who I am now in the world. I like how I show up. I'm really proud of the way I show up in my home, out in the world, in my relationships. Like, do I get it perfect? I'm still human. Let's not get it twisted, okay? Like, do I still make mistakes? 100%. I was agitated this morning with my daughter because she wanted to stay home sick. And I was like, oh my God. And it took me a second to catch myself, but I catch myself, and I catch myself so much faster than I used to. And so my challenge to you is, if you've ever been thinking about starting a meditation practice, do not do it because you think that you're going to become some great meditator or that. And do not stop yourself because you're afraid that your mind just wanders. I want you to do it because it will feel good for you inside, and it is a gift to yourself. And when you start living that way, the best part is that the people around you start to feel it, and there is ripple effects in your life. So my kids feel it, my partner feels it, our home feels different. And all of a sudden, guys, you start seeing that the outside world, like little changes start happening. People start showing up differently. They start responding differently. I think about it, like, for example, like even with my kids, how I used to be really reactionary. It's funny now, like Lillian and Ash will tell me all the time because they had a different version of me as a mother because I was really young, you know. Not that I regret those years, but I'm just a different mother now. And they will say to me, like, I love that I can come talk to you about these things. I love that I know you're not going to get upset with me and that you're not going to yell. And I mean, have I still yelled? Yes. I don't, but very rarely. And that to me is such a gift to me. It's such a gift to me. So anyway, I think about the world of like wellness and like what's out there for women right now and all the things we're being told to do. And I'm going to tell you, I think a lot of it is bullshit. I'm sorry. I'm just going to say that. And I think if there's one thing that we can do, there's one thing you can do, let it be this. Let it just be 5 minutes with yourself. That's it. I think we're doing way too much stuff. And I think we could like cut back on all of the other like stuff that we're trying to do and like simplify our life and just do one thing for ourselves and let that be 5 minutes with yourself. Okay, let's talk about what's happening in meditation from like a neuroscience and like a physiological standpoint too, because we just talked about like all the benefits that happen to you, let's just say like mentally and like in your day-to-day life, but there's also these very real physical benefits that are happening. So many of us are living in fight or flight. I did pretty much my whole life, even just sitting on a couch, like we think a bear is chasing us. I mean, I don't think you actually think that, but our bodies live like they are. So even example, like right now, you're probably sitting in traffic listening to this, or maybe you're making dinner and your shoulders are probably raised. So like even if we just check in and have a little bit of awareness right now, you can just like check in with your shoulders. Like, can you drop your shoulders? Can you take a deep inhale and a complete full exhale? And just check in with yourself and see the state that you're living in. Many of us spend a majority of our life in this hypervigilant state, always on, always ready to run from a bear. And the bear may be, you know, incoming text messages that are coming in nonstop or whatever it may be. It looks different in our modern world, but our body doesn't know the difference. Our body thinks, right? Like alert, alert, you cannot calm down. And so our shoulders are always raised. Our amygdala, right? The part of us, the part of our brain that sends us into fight or flight is extremely active. And we're always living in this like hyper-reactive, right? Hyper-reactive state. And so what meditation does is it starts calming down the nervous system. It lowers our cortisol. We know it increases gray matter in the brain. But what it really does is it moves us from the amygdala, this fight or flight, and it takes us to our prefrontal cortex. And that's just like a fancy way of saying the part of our brain that makes wise decisions, right? Like the part of our brain that like knows like, oh yeah, my daughter really doesn't hate me when she slams the door. She's just having a bad day. She's slamming the door, right? But like when we live in our amygdala and when we're living in this like hyper vigilant state and this hyper aware state, we can't tell the difference. So every single thing that happens to us is a threat against us. The person who slams the door, if it's our daughter, is like, she's coming for us. The email from the boss is like, they hate us. The person who caught us in traffic, it is like, oh my gosh, we are so offended. And we're living from this really reactionary state. And so not only does it just help us from beginning to observe ourselves and we grow that sense of awareness, but on top of it, physiologically, from like a neuroscience standpoint, we're actually calming down that amygdala and turning back on that prefrontal cortex. And so we can move forward and make decisions from a really wise, grounded, centered place. And you guys, you will feel it. So that's sort of what happens. Let's talk about staying consistent with it. I think it's really one of the things I hear a lot is, and I think about this a lot too. So I've been meditating for 10 years, as I just said, and I get up really early in the morning to practice because if I don't, it just doesn't happen. And the other day, my alarm went off. JP's been traveling, and so my little guy, who's 10, is afraid of the dark, and he comes and sleeps with me a lot in the middle of the night when JP's traveling. It's like he knows I'm alone, and he doesn't like being in the dark. And so I'm just like, come on in, buddy. And my alarm went off a couple days ago, and it was 5 a.m, and I was so tired. He was like tossing and turning at night, so I got a terrible night's sleep. And I was thinking to myself, like, do I really have to do it today? Didn't I meditate every day for the past 10 years? Couldn't that be enough? Aren't we enlightened enough? And it would be so easy for me to listen to, my ego mind who says, like, not today. You're tired. You've got a kid sleeping in a bed. It's okay if you skip a day. But I'm going to tell you something. There is a deep belief that I have in who I am as a person. And I show up for myself every single day to reinforce that belief of who I am. And one of the things I think is really difficult when we're trying to make a change in our life, we're trying to create a new pattern, or we're trying to get something to stick, whether it's a meditation practice, whether it's quitting drinking, whether it's like working out, whatever that thing is. There's two different ways we make change. One is outcome-based and the other is identity-based. And this is not something like I came up with, okay? So let's let's not, like I'm not an expert on this, but I'm telling you, this is just like how it is. And I see it playing out in my own life and I believe it because I see it with the women that I work with and I see it with myself. When we make a change or try to make a change that's outcome-based, so it says like, I'm gonna start working out because I wanna lose weight. The change is based on the outcome we want to create. And so we're trying to create an outcome. And so we're going to do X, Y, or Z in order to create that change. And it relies so heavily on being motivated. And what happens is motivation runs out. Like we can't all be motivated 24/7. And so that motivation wears away. Change that really sticks is when it's identity-based change. And so it's not that you want to go create something different. It's that who you are is different. And so for me, for example, and I didn't understand this at the time when I was starting my meditation practice, but I think about this now with a lot of things. I think about this with me showing up consistently online or me showing up consistently coming here. It's not so much do I have to stay motivated. It's I'm a person who believes in herself and isn't going to quit. I am a woman who lives with ease and peace and joy, and I live from a grounded state. And so if that is true, if that's who I believe I am, then I get up and meditate every day. I show up and reinforce that belief about myself. It's not an option. Does that make sense as I'm saying it? It's two totally different things. One is because we believe that we are going to become someone different in the future. The other one is that we already are that person right now in this moment. It is a current right now. This is happening to me. Kind of like how I talked about in the beginning of the show about this idea of embodying what you want in your life right now as if it's already happening in you. And so I think about that so much with like staying consistent with the meditation practice. It's not so much about do I want to become this person who sits and meditate and I have to force myself to go do it. It's I live with ease and joy and abundance and peace in my life. That's who I am. That's how I live. And if that's what I believe about myself, then I'm the type of person who shows up and gets up and meditates in the morning. And the two continue to reinforce the other. And the more you show up for yourself, so every day that I've gotten up and done that, it reinforces for me, right? It like rebuilds within me that I am a person who lives with ease and peace and joy, and it builds that confidence. And every time like that confidence grows just a little bit, it increases that motivation and that momentum. And then that momentum grows. And you keep the momentum, and you keep that confidence going, and you keep dropping those little buckets in whatever, little drops of water in the bucket. And it's a cycle, it's a cyclical, is that the word? Cyclical cycle that just keeps reinforcing itself. And so, yes, can it be easy to like lay in bed and not want to get up? Absolutely. Change is really hard. Change is really hard. It is. But I really think that the thing that it comes down to is like if you truly believed that you are worthy of change, that change is possible, you would show up every single day like your life depended on it. And if you really believe, I think about this now, and I'm so grateful that I've had the opportunity to see how meditation has changed my life. And so I think about like if I really believe that meditation can change the world and can change my life, like there's nothing that's going to stop me. A kid in my bed at 5 a.m. is not going to stop me from getting up. Nothing's going to stop me from getting up and doing it. I will do it on the back of a plane, on a train. I'll do it in a car. I'll do it sitting on a beach. I'll do it when I'm sitting at my kid's choir concert. If I need to drop in and have a little quick meditation, you can find me doing it anywhere. There's no excuses anymore in my world. And I want that for all of you. I think it is, I think our identity and our belief in ourselves needs to grow. Our capacity to be able to handle more and see ourselves as more needs to grow. And I think that's when we start seeing like real changes in your life. I'm going to talk about something. I'm going to switch gears for a second here. You know, I was just talking about this idea of identity and believing in yourself. And one of the things that's been really important for me over the years, and I'm going to say something that's going to sound really cheesy and woo, and I get that, but just stick with me for a second. I really believe like we are all just pure love energy. It sounds, I get it. And I like sometimes want to throw up when I say these types of things. Okay. I am a very pragmatic, practical person. I am a Virgo rising. Like I'm a very, it doesn't matter. But so when I say these things, please know that I've already like been annoyed with myself for saying it. And so if I'm saying it to you, it's because I really believe it. We are all just pure love energy. I think we are having this existence here on this planet, and we think of ourselves as these like physical beings having this like physical experience, that what you see and what I see and what we can hear and touch in our 3D world is what's happening around us. But we know this. We know that we can only see like the part, if you take an atom and you look at it under a microscope, 99.9% of it, 99.9% of it. So basically all of it is just open space. It's open space. It's just energy. It's nothingness. It's vastness. It's nothingness. And so we understand that the world is really made up of like nothingness. What we can see, what we can comprehend, feel, touch is just 0.05%, okay? And yet we try to control things in the 3D by like pushing things up a hill or like controlling and manipulating the chess pieces to control what's happening in the 3D. And I want you to take a step back and just remember that who you are is so much bigger than this. It's so much bigger than this. And it gets so lost when we bring our vibration down and we start focusing on lack and we start focusing on the things that we don't have. And we start focusing on who we're mad at or who wronged us or what happened to us in our past or what happened to us in our childhood. And we forget that you and me, all of us, it's just pure love energy and that you are more powerful than you ever could have imagined. You've just simply forgotten. And I think what's so beautiful about meditation is it opens us back up to remember, to tap back in. It is like we are plugging ourselves back into this source. I don't care what you call it. I'm not religious. I used to be Catholic. I've left the Catholic faith almost, 6-7 years ago. But I do believe in something bigger than us. So whether you call that God, whether you call it source, you call it spirit, whether you call it energy, I literally don't care. It's just semantics. But there is something bigger than us, right? We know that. What makes up all that 99.9% of just vastness that we know is inside an atom, right? And so we are getting plugged right back in to whatever this higher being is when we sit and meditate, and we become these clear channels, these clear vessels. And when we can see ourselves as these beings of just pure love energy that are capable of anything, and we start to show up as if we are those people, right? You, me, your kids, your partner, the people at work, all of us, like if all of us started showing up in this world as like the pure love energy that we are, and we started opening our hearts and we started expanding our sense of awareness and capacity for what we can hold. And we started holding ourselves accountable for the way we treat people and the way we think, and we started holding ourselves accountable for the vibrations we bring in. I know it sounds cheesy as I'm saying that. The ripple effects that you would see in the world would be tremendous. And so my call to you, if you are listening and you're open to this, is to give yourself an opportunity to sit with, like, do I truly believe that I am more powerful than I know? Do I truly believe that I am worthy of abundance, that I am worthy of love, that I'm worthy of peace, that I'm worthy of joy and ease? Do I believe that I am just a vessel of just pure love energy? I will take it one step further to say, I said this to JP the other day on a walk, and I said it to a friend on the retreat, and I've never said this in public before, and I wasn't planning on saying it, so forgive me as this is going to come out literal, but I believe, this is going to sound so, I can't believe I'm about to say this, that I believe that I am God, and I believe that you are God, and I believe that so is your neighbor, and so is your daughter, and so is the person at work, and the person in the car next to you. And that we all are, you and I. There is no difference between what that thing is outside of us, right? That pure love energy, it is within us. It exists within you. It exists in you. You are divine. And you are acting like you are a chess piece being moved around on this planet. And you forget that, like, you are the creator, just like I am, just like your neighbor is. We all are. And when you remember that, you can start showing up in the world and be like, oh yeah, I don't need to react when my daughter slams the door. I'm the creator, and so are you. And like, I'm pure love energy. And this is not something against me, that at any moment in time, I have an opportunity to choose how I respond. And I respond from a place of love. And I remember that at any point I can open up my heart and be present in this moment and see the bigness and the joy and all the abundance that is in our life, and focus on all the goodness instead of staying in lack. And when you do that, there are incredible ripple effects that happen. And the universe starts co-creating with you and starts working in your favor. But I think it takes this enormous amount of belief that, like, you are so much more powerful than you realize. And whether you can say to yourself, and maybe saying like you are God or you are spirit or whatever feels too big of a stretch. I get that. Not everyone can like go there. It's taken me a while to get there, to be like, actually, I think that's what's happening. And when I sit in meditation, I feel my heart open and I feel this heart coherence. We forget that, our hearts are anywhere, it's different numbers, but anywhere from 500 to 5,000. So it's like a varied amount of number. We understand that we cannot really measure it. The electromagnetic field of the heart is enormously more powerful than the brain. And yet we move from the brain. And so I'm just going to say to you, like, there is a reason that our heart centers have this electromagnetic field that is so incredibly powerful. And so I'm just going to ask you just to lean into that. Start charging it up somehow, whether it's sitting in meditation, whether it's creating just a moment of stillness for yourself, whether it's journaling, whatever it is, and understand that like you are pure love energy and anything you want in this world is possible for you. And you do not have to wait for future you to go get it. It exists right now in this moment, right now in this moment. Okay. Wow. I just like rambled on for a long time there. Thank you for listening. I had a lot of fun sitting in the studio with you today. I'm not really sure what I said. I feel like I kind of went on some tangents there and had some things that I may regret saying because they sounded so woo, but I just have to be honest with all of you. I'm going to drop a meditation in here for this little bonus track for afterwards if you want to give it a try to see how it feels. And just thank you for listening. Thank you for showing up here. Thank you for continuing to support the show. It's been incredibly humbling and exciting watching it grow. And I can't wait to see what comes next for all of us. And I just adore all of you and I appreciate you being here. Okay, we'll talk next week.